Let me tell you the story of a young pioneer in American music education. In 1888, a music legend began as a music supervisor in Illinois and rose to the top of the Music Educators National Conference to become known as the mother of MENC. This is the story of Frances Elliott Clark. Frances Elliott Clark was born Frances Mary Elliott on May 27, 1860, in Scott Township, Indiana. At the age of 4, she was singing hymns, and as a young girl studied on the cabinet organ with practice times of 2 hours a day. She later attended singing school and excelled as a solo soprano. Not long after, she started a singing school, and her career as a music educator was launched. When Frances was only 14, she married a woodsman and a surveyor named John Clark. Only 6 years later, in 1880, John died of yellow fever, leaving her a widow and pregnant at 20. Her son, John Elliott Clark, was born in 1881, and it was at this time, with an 8th grade education, she began studying to become a teacher and began teaching in 1884. Wanting to do even more with her life, she enrolled in Trinity State Normal College, where she studied voice, sang in her college choirs, her church choirs, and was in demand as a soprano soloist. While still attending classes, she accepted her first music supervisor position at Pleasant Lake School, where she taught both elementary and high school choir. She graduated with honors while teaching in 1888. In 1896, Miss Clark took over the position of music teacher in Ottumwa, Iowa. While teaching in Ottumwa, she began giving a series of 10-minute lectures to her students before choir practice about J.S. Bach, Chopin, the rise of the opera, and other contemporary composers. It was here that she recognized the importance of relating music history to her performing groups. Clark left Iowa to become the supervisor of music in Milwaukee, a city of 450,000 people. Even though Milwaukee was a large metropolitan city of diverse ethnic populations, she found it to be lacking in musical education. So she began an extensive program of educating the children while setting up an organization for their teachers. She had them learn ear training beginning in kindergarten, and in the higher grades they studied the songs of the masters. In 1907, Frances Elliott Clark was vice president of the music section of the National Education Association and presided over the first meeting of 26 supervisors. This group would later evolve into MENC, Music Educators National Conference. In light of all these accomplishments, 43-year-old Frances Clark had perhaps her most memorable years to come, for in 1903 she went shopping for a Victor talking machine and some records when she happened to hear the glorious tenor of Evan Williams singing all through the night. She was reported to have said, "Truly, my heart almost stood still." She knew almost every 4th grader in Milwaukee was singing that song and thought of her children. If only they could hear the beautiful tone quality, the sensitive phrasing, and the diction of this great artist.
I walked out of that room dazed, as with an almost supernatural vision calling for action.
Soon after hearing Mr. Williams, Frances Elliott Clark introduced her Victrola into the classroom, and word of her students' success spread throughout the area. Her program was so successful, representatives from the Victor Record Company contacted her and offered her a job in their newly created education department. Turning them down at first, Mrs. Clark later accepted, knowing her success locally could be spread out across the country with this position. Frances Clark also campaigned to the Victor Company for a phonograph that would work in the schools. She wanted a model that would be portable and mounted on a stand with a removable horn. It needed to have storage space for records and could be carried out to the playground, where music could be incorporated into their physical activities and exercises for the children. While working with the Victor Talking Machine Company and the new Victor Red Label Recording Company, she was enjoying a national reputation for having one of the most organized and highest quality music programs in the country. After seeing her success, the Victor Record Company was inspired to publish its first educational catalog in 1911. In 1915, Clark also planned a music hall that was later used in the World's Fair in San Francisco. It was called the Temple of Music and is still in use today. The temple resembled Greek architecture with the outside walls made of glass. In 1952, Francis Elliott Clark, then 92, was invited to be the guest speaker for MENC and was honored as the only one of its founders who had attended all of the national meetings. As we open the year of the 50th anniversary observance of the Music Educators National Conference, we pause to honor one of the founders, the first president, our dear friend, long known as Mother of the Conference, Dr. Frances Elliott Clark. Thousands understand and enjoy music more deeply because of her great vision. It gives us all much satisfaction as well to be able to state that although Mother Clark has now passed her 95th milestone and is technically emeritus, she still plans for the future. This 50-year tribute is, therefore, a progress report. Francis Elliott Clark died June 14, 1958, at the age of 98 in Salt Lake City, Utah.